Hello and welcome to the Low Code Cafe. This is the episode 193 for January 28, 2026. And today we'll be covering the Plant and App Starter Plan, what's included, and how to enable features. Let's me start by introducing myself. I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for Plant and App, and this is an event that we do monthly, typically once at the end of every month on Wednesdays. And it's just an opportunity for us to provide some hands-on low coding, some training for what's going on with the Plant and App product. We record all of these and put them on YouTube. You can view them in youtube.com/plantandapp. There's a whole playlist of these low-code cafes, as well as other content. We'll be running this agenda today. I'm going to do a brief From the Trenches segment. Since I'm in support, I do the From the Trenches of support. We'll be covering a little bit about updating the product and the updates that are available. And then the biggest piece of our program, we'll get into the hands-on low coding, where I'm going to demonstrate the features of the licensing and the starter plan. So we do hope you'll engage with us. There's a chat window, there's the question and answers, there's the ability you can raise your hand and talk. Then after it's all over with, there's a feedback form. I'll show you how to get to that as well. As I mentioned, we do this, we usually present this the last Wednesday of each month, and so the next one is scheduled for February 25th. All right, diving right in. We currently have two versions that are within our support window, version 1.27 and 1.28. 1.27 was released back in June of 2025, and we have a standard support until window for 1 year out. So that'll be in support through halfway through June of this year. And then 1.28 just got released about 2 weeks ago. And so the standard support will be until, I didn't even put that right. It's January 12th, 1 year out. So mistake on this slide. For a little technical topic here, I wanted to demonstrate our cumulative hotfix mechanism. We have been making changes in the area of how to update the product, and in the mechanism previously has been that there's hotfixes and you could install individual ones. Now we've moved to a cumulative hotfix approach so that for the most part everybody gets the same system. And so rather than a lot of different versions being installed, we have a cumulative hotfix released no sooner than once per week in most cases. And so the cumulative hotfixes just has a tested configuration of all the hotfixes that we're releasing for a given period. So just wanted to run through how to use this so that you can apply hotfixes on your system. First of all, we always advise that you do a backup, even for the smallest of cumulative hotfixes. Make sure you have a backup available. You probably have a normal backup plan, and so scheduling the install of hotfixes right after your existing backups is often an easy strategy. But backup with a file system and the SQL database so that you have something to restore to should something go wrong. If you have any questions about how to do that, happy to answer that on our support channel. Then from there, after you've got a backup in place, you go to configuration updates. You might see our older hotfixes window, and it's still there for a version or two more, but you'll probably not need that. The cumulative hotfixes tab is where you'll do the installation, and I'll show that here in a moment. But a couple things to note. The most recent cumulative hotfix will install all of the ones that are shown below. So you most typically pick the most recent hotfix. You'll select it and start the installation. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Within your site, within the configuration menu, there's the updates choice. when you get updates. Um, you'll the screen will show you an overview of what you have installed, and let's see, I'm going to sometimes we get this where things are listed twice, usually resolved just by clicking the check for updates button. Um, and so I'm going to refresh. Hopefully that will correctly show what I have. Yeah, there we go. So this shows all the different things that are installed on your system and the version that's installed. And we may ask about this on support. If you're having a problem with, for example, forms, we might ask what version of forms you have installed, and that's the number that we're looking for. So here's the older hotfixes mechanism, and we don't recommend that you use this unless directed by support at this point, because everything should be able to be done on our cumulative hotfixes tab. You can check for updates. For example, if we released one, we might be working with you on support and say, okay, we just released a cumulative hotfix. You can come in here, click the check for updates button. But I think this is going on once per day anyway. So when you browse to it, you should see the updates if they've been released previously. So we see hotfixes. I'm on the major version is shown down here in the lower left-hand corner. I'm on version 1.27, and so all the hotfixes for version 1.27 are shown. And again, recommendation, unless you have other goals, but the main recommendation would be to just install the most recent one. So cumulative hotfixes for January 22nd. There is a select button. You click select and you'll get a pop-up window that shows all of the components that are going to be installed. And notice that there's an information icon. If you hover it, you'll learn more about what's going on in that particular item. So if you want to dig in and see what you're getting with a particular hotfix, you can hover that and see our explanation of what is being fixed there. And that's always a good idea to understand what's coming into your system. It's as simple as clicking the install all updates. In later versions, I believe the wording on this changes to prepare update, but whether it says install all updates or prepare updates, this is the button you click to get it started. And yes, we want to install these. In version 1.28, the next higher version, we're not demonstrating that today. That's the one that's going to have the prepare updates screen, and so you'll get another screen that we're working to improve the updates reliability, and so there is an install screen that you'll get to provides more information than just this blank screen while the updates are going on, and so you'll have a couple of check boxes that get you to affirm that you do have a backup and that you do understand what's going on that screen. And then you click proceed and the update's installed just like we have here. I'm not going to wait around for this one to install, but just realize that it depending on the size of your system, it could take anywhere from a minute to 10 minutes because the software has to get installed and then a full system restart takes place. The website restart, not your server. So we won't wait for this. I'm going to move it out of the way. So that's installing cumulative hotfixes. When that ends, you'll notice that the updates that the version numbers that are there on the overview will have increased to include what your new whatever was installed. All right. Other things from the trenches, we do an event once every Friday, almost every Friday at this same hour. It's called the Low Code Campfire, and we encourage you to participate in that. This is an event, instead of it being a training content like here on Low Code Cafe, it's a conversation. It's between us and our clients, between clients. It's a really useful event where we help each other, um, ask questions, perhaps demonstrate some techniques that we're doing. So very, very good place to get get your questions answered or help some of your fellow low coders with things that they're facing. You can register, and let me put these links on the chat. Find the chat here and post these. You can register in advance for the low code campfire using that link. You can get to our webinar recordings on YouTube. The community portal link is on there as well. That is useful to get your questions answered, not only by us, but um, our community as well on the forum. And then the feedback form that I mentioned earlier, you can click there and leave feedback for what you thought about today's presentation or something you might want to see the next time. All right. So now we can dive into our main topic of the day, plan an app starter plan, what's included, how to enable features. And I'm just going to walk through this slide by slide here. I have a number of slides, and we'll switch back and forth to some hands-on low coding. But I'm going to start by just kind of providing a little bit overview where we're going. So there's we'll talk a little bit about if you have a DNN site that might have some of our older tools or older tools are called DNN Sharp tools. You might have a site that has some of those and you want to upgrade to Plant an App, particularly because some of those tools well, all of those tools now have been discontinued and they will not work on higher versions of DNN like DNN 10. So that might be a reason to do that. Or if you're just coming from a DNN site, you've never had any of our tools, but you want to get on, take advantage of Plant an App. So we'll talk about how to migrate or install Plant an App. Yeah, so like I say, you might have an existing DNN site that has nothing to do with DNN Sharp. So that's the second point. And then understanding our licensing, how it works, the plans that are available, the upgrade paths, and you'll see what you keep, which will be almost everything. You'll see a few changes, and we'll gain a lot. The older tools were standalone tools. The Plant an App now is a complete platform that suits a very wide number of needs. So that's where we're going. So the DNN Sharp tools were the foundation of Plant an App, and we brought them all together into a single platform. They've been in use for 15 or 20 years, so lots and lots of experience on these systems, and we've brought them in. But the standalone tools had a variety of limitations, and so we've found the need to discontinue them and bring them all into Plant an App as a platform. And so yeah, that's kind of the introduction how we got here. So a typical starting point would be a DNN site that has maybe just the DNN modules or some custom modules. You might be using the DNN Sharp, but and then have a mix of environments. You might some people only have a production environment, but depending on the level of need, you might have a staging or a development environment as well. And yeah, the versioning, depending on the products that you have might be all over the place. Again, Plant an App as a platform helps to standardize on versions of the products that are installed. So let's take a look at a common scenario. Our most popular earlier tools were these four. There was a tool called Action Forms, which allowed you to build forms and collect data or display data. Action Grid, which was a display product to display listings of information. My Tokens, which let you display values and compute expressions, do a wide range of things with My Tokens. And then Tabs Pro is just a way to lay out and navigate your forms, navigate your pages better by taking more advantage of the real estate of a given page. So let's take a look at what an old system might look like. I have this happens to be a DNN version 9.6 system that I've put a few, one of each of those tools on. And so, for example, there is a Tabs Pro that allows us to, within the same page, navigate from one content to another. So I've got a name tab and a users tab. Um, Within each of these tabs, the name tab has a form on it. The form has this is a very unsophisticated form that collects a name, and if you press the submit button, it shows the name. So that's quite unsophisticated, but at least it shows that there's a form in use. The users tab shows a listing of all the users of this particular system, and so you can search for users or sort ascending or descending, some basic functionality of a listing. So this is an action grid, an action form, the Tabs Pro, and then on this older system, the My Tokens was listed under the Manage menu. So if we go to My Tokens, we get to see the tokens functionality, and so all the different tokens that came with My Tokens, you could make your own, define your own tokens, and there was a test functionality here that you could test out a token. And so we see a date time, for example. So this, I'm not going to actually go through the upgrade, but I am going to talk about the upgrade and installing, I say upgrade, but it's a upgrade and install of PlantinApp, but I'm going to talk about it. The upgrade itself might take 15 minutes. It might take 45. It depends on the size of your system and the speed of the resources available on the server. But we won't go through this today, but I'll show you kind of the landing step and how to go about the upgrade. So won't show everything, but I will talk you through it. So a migration to PlantinApp looks something like this. You start from an existing DNN site. We're going to keep those components I was just showing you. Those will get upgraded, and in most cases, they'll work exactly the way that they did before the upgrade. After the upgrade will be the same. So they'll install, PlantinApp will get it installed alongside those existing tools, and then you'll have the ability to access new capabilities. All right, let's talk a little bit about the licensing model. PlantinApp has an older licensing model that was based on one license, one system, and the ability to run any number of developers, any number of clients on a single domain or URL. In recent versions, we've added to that licensing model, and so our modernized licensing model is that we have runtime licenses and developer licenses. And for anybody running the older version, you'll have the opportunity, as really at any time, but you could migrate to the newer license model. Discussion with sales to make that happen. But if you find it more advantageous to you to migrate to it, that's a discussion that you can have and migrate to it at any time. It doesn't change the way the product works. It just changes the way the licensing takes place. Anyway, the new licensing is that there are runtime licenses and developer licenses. We separated the idea is that the way that the systems get used has been separated from development access. So you can have a runtime license to run a site, and there's no development capability, but rather you're licensed for the site to run, and then the developer license is the thing that allows your developer or developers to sign onto the site and to work with it. But by splitting these up, we end up creating more flexibility. It might there's the opportunity to save some money as you, yeah, for example, a development shop can buy a developer license that will allow them to develop on any number of sites, and so the runtimes uh, uh, together, let's say you have 10 clients and each one of those are running a runtime, instead of them having to buy the full license, the older model, now they're just buying a runtime at a lower cost. So it's a way for us to bring the price point down substantially. And Yeah, so that's designed to scale across multiple sites. It's split so clients don't pay for developer tools. Developers aren't blocked by runtime limits. So we'll take a look deeper at that. So the starter plan, what is it? It's our entry-level subscription, a runtime subscription. It's designed for running applications, but not for building them. And you get that core plant and app functionality, those same things that we were looking at a minute ago, forms, listings, tabs, and tokens, along with a few other additional capability. But this is for your just ideal for your production sites. The developer license is the other side of it. Licenses, it's licensed per developer, not per site. So one developer could be accessing one site or 10 sites with their developer license, but it gives access to all the development features across any number of environments, and that functionality includes support from our help desk, as well as advanced tools within the product, like an AI assistant for building SQL. So a typical scenario is that you've got a client that's running a starter plan in production, a developer having a developer seat. There, the developer is able to work with and modify the development that's on your production system. Maybe they have a development environment where their development or user acceptance test environment where the developer does their work to validate and get it right, and then it subsequently gets installed in the production environment. And so this gives you the ability for then production to remain stable and isolated. Um, So let's talk about, what this upgrade process looks like. I mentioned that I'm going to not actually go through it all, but I do want to show you how to go about it, and happy to support you with it. But should give you all the information you need. Essentially, you'll be downloading an installer from Plant and App. I'll show you where to get that, and it installs just like any other module in DNN. And then the installer gets placed on some page on your system, probably a hidden page. It will guide you through the upgrade and installation process, and the end result will be that you have a DNN system that's upgraded to the latest version of DNN, and also the Plant and App platform will be installed. So let's look at that. You have a console.plantanapp.com account that you'll use as the basis for getting your subscriptions to Plant and App. And so, for example, I have one here that I have for demonstration purposes that has a starter plan available. And to show you how to read this, there's none of these used yet. We've one total available, the date that it was created and renews. And then we have a professional developer. So this would be a typical scenario. I want to be a professional developer and have those capabilities. And eventually I'm going to install it for a customer. So I bought a starter plan and a developer plan. To do the installation, whether it's for your development environment or your client environment, you can find that on our downloads page. It'll show you the downloads that are available. We recommend taking the most recent stable version, so 128, and you'll click the download button. This will give you a zip file that will be installed on the system. And so the instructions for how to go about that are shown here in the installation documentation. And I'll just, again, I'll walk you through this without actually doing it. So it has before you begin, you're going to want to, ideally, you'll install this on a non-production environment first so that you understand what you're getting with Plant and App. But once you understand that, then you'll want to go to your production site. Always want to back up. You're welcome to do this as a hosted trial if you're just evaluating Plant and App. But other than that, you'll go on. You'll download the module from console, as I mentioned. You get the most recent available when you install it and put it. Well, it tells you the prerequisites for what you have to have. You have to be able to sign in as a host or super user. It works with DNN 961 or later. So you'll install the installer module. You'll create a page to put it on and add it to the page there on step 3. And then once you add it to the page, it's going to start doing the checks. It'll show green for the things that have passed, orange for the things that are warning, red for things that have failed. So long as you only have green and orange, it will let you proceed. There'll be a button to start the installation. And then when the installation takes place, it might refer you to it almost certainly is going to refer you to the DNN upgrade page. So you'll probably have to use your host or super user credentials. And then when you return to the site, there'll be an opportunity you'll return to that same installer page, and there'll be a button that will let you create the configuration page. That's the configuration where you then can work with the site after that. That's the main access into Plant and App controls. And then there's a finalize that'll end up removing the installer and getting it out of your way, removing the page. And all those steps are the things that we're not going to do today. We're going to pick up in activating Plant and App. Once you have Plant and App installed, then it requires activation against either your professional developer license or your starter plan or whatever plan that you've purchased. So I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to go to the site that I have that's in that state. I didn't actually run the installer, so this looks slightly different, but the main thing, I have to log in here, okay. Remember my password. The main thing that we're going to be doing, you'll want to navigate to the configuration page, which I'm going to do here from the Pages menu on the site. But this is the place where you'll drop into this dialog. You'll see this instance of Plant and App is not licensed and the button to activate. When you activate, it's going to take you from your website. In my case, it's Café 193 Starter is my URL. When I activate it, it's going to take me to the console, the Plant and App console, and you can activate it either as a production environment or a developer environment. I am going to let's see, I'm going to go back to my presentation and make sure I don't get too far off here. So yeah, I've demonstrated that it's in the unlicensed state, and so we've already done that. Um, and we've already started the activation. I'll just explain. The activation starts from the configuration page. It goes to the console. We're going to need to select a subscription, and we're going to bind that binds the URL to the subscription at that point. What I want to do though first is make sure that I can show you how to do a UAT environment. Once you have the professional developer license, you can start up any number of development or UAT environments, and this this is one of the great benefits of the professional program. So you can um, create as many sites, do the development, and then when the development is complete, then when you can release it to your client, or if it's for you, you can buy the runtime license at that point once the development is over. But you can have as many development environments as you want with the professional plan. So we want to activate a starter development environment, and I'm going to try and get that done here. So we're in our activate dialog, and I see that this uh, uh, button is not enabled for me. It says a developer seat is required to be assigned in order to do a non-production environment. Well, what is this saying? If we go back to our account on console.plantanapp.com and look at the account, we can see that we have a starter plan and a developer plan, but there's this button seats over here, and I don't have any seats assigned. I can assign a seat using this change button, and so I'm going to assign my user, this is the user I'm logged in as, a seat as a developer, and save that. Well, once I do that, the activation dialog changes. And that's a one-time event. If you're a developer, you assign a seat and you're good to go. Now, anytime you're logged into the console and you're trying to do a activation, this developer UAT environment will show as active for you. So that's what we want to do. We want to click that, and it's asking us, saying change app, but really this is a new app, and this is going to be, we'll give the app a name, and I'm going to call it Café 193, and it's going to be a new subscription. I can choose between the starter, the harvest, the enterprise. So starter is our entry-level program, and that's the one we're exploring today. Harvest has most of our features. Enterprise includes more corporate level features, and so if you're running you can choose among those, and we can get into what the features are. But today we're going to be focusing on the starter plan. So we're activating a development environment on the starter plan. We get to name it. The default name is dev, and so we'll just accept that, and so we'll activate. The next thing you're going to see is we're back at our website, and we're seeing this welcome. One of the key features, or one of the features of a development environment is always going to be that anyone who accesses the site will always see this welcome screen because it's a non-production environment. Uh, this is just a reminder that it is not for production. It is just for you to use during development. You'll click the start button. You'll see that screen once a day, or anytime you access it on a different browser. Basically, it's yeah, anytime you access it on a different browser. Um, the Plantain environment, if you've had Plantain before, you'll notice that you're seeing some things that are a little different, which is we're on our configuration page, and we're seeing some icons here. These upward arrows are pointing out that there are certain things that are available through upgrade. So you'll have access to some of the features, but the entire platform is installed, and it's just by activating the license that you get that. So let me make sure I'm in the right spot. We have activated a starter development environment. We've done that. So that's successful. We'll move on. And so our next step here is just to let's take a look at our existing tools that we were using if we had the DNN Sharp tools, that they still work. Forms and grids and tabs evaluate the same way. So we will go to the front of our site. In the configuration menu, there's the preview button, which brings you to the home page, opens a new tab for the home page. So I'm going to do that. And I have put essentially the same content on this website as I had on that one on my before picture. So we have a form, it's got name, it's got users, and if we submit, it's there. One thing you'll notice, one difference will be that if we go into the manage menu, that my tokens is not listed here anymore. That's because it has a place on the configuration screen down here under tokens. And so it's a new and updated interface, but it's essentially the same thing. And you still have a test window here, and you can still test tokens and get a result. All right. And for those of you who caught it, the time is showing substantially different because this system happens to be based on a server that's that is in a different time zone, and so we're seeing a different result from the daytime now, but it's working exactly the same as it did. All right, so moving on. Let's look at the configuration menu. If you're seeing this for the first time, um, you get to this by your website /configuration. That's our recommended place to put it, but it can actually be, and that's where it will be placed if you use our installer. If you, it's possible to put this on a different page than that, but for the most part, clients use the configuration page, and it would typically be a hidden, I mean, almost always you would want to lock this down via, and it will come in this way. The configuration page permissions should not be showing to anyone except developers or managers on the site. Access, this is where you get to define all the things that are plant and app. So it's should only be available to your low-code developers. So there's a getting started page that will bring you to community or documentation, telling you a little bit about how to get started. The general page will show you and allow you to change the application name. The URL is locked in. Excuse me, just a moment. Sorry about that. It shows you the license, so we're connected to a starter license that renews automatically in February 28th. You can set your logo or your favorite icon, but that's the general tab. The roles is an upgrade thing. We'll talk about that more in a bit. There's the users, the ability to define add new users to your system with the new user button and give them roles and work with users. This is in addition to, we haven't taken anything away from the core DNN users, but it's maybe a nicer interface to be able to manipulate users here, just to the things that you really need. But you can use either of those. In the same way, there's a pages that allows you to define new pages and access to the pages. There's a files functionality that is very similar to the manage site assets. It gives you the ability to navigate the tree of your site and to see the files that are there, upload, download them. The SQL console is an additional feature that if you want the ability to run some SQL and get the result, and that is marked with an upgrade icon. We're going to talk about entities more in a bit, so I'll come back to that one. Connectors is where you can define connections to other databases, but that's a lot of that is part of the upgrade as well. So we've already looked at tokens. I skipped a couple here. Workflows is the ability to define essentially subroutines, logic that has inputs and outputs and does some work. Very nice, nicely defined in a graphical. It's called BPMN, but a nice layout showing step by step how you progress through logic, and it's a very powerful feature. APIs is a feature that if you want to have a remote system be able to provide information or get information from your system through an automated call, you can create an API endpoint to do that. Automation is a feature that allows you to run work. For example, periodically, once a day, I want to run a report. That kind of thing can be done under automation. User guides is a way to introduce users or walk users through steps within your pages. So kind of a start here, do this next kind of walkthrough logic, and then very common. A commonly used product is search, the ability to search your website and get a very fast Lucene index Google kind of search of your site. Then the updates page, which we've spent some time on earlier, which gives you the ability to see what's installed and to install the cumulative hotfixes. Logs gives you access to the things that are going on within your system and any errors that might be happening. And version control, I'm interested that this one is not locked out in the starter plan. I don't believe this is a starter plan feature, so that may be something I'll have to come back and ask about. Okay, so that's the run through of what the configuration menu looks like. I've kind of already mentioned this, that the tokens, it moved. It still does all the same kind of definition, and the tokens that you had before you upgraded will still be there and be defined, although I suppose as we look at the starter plan, it's probably worth taking a look. If you you can define tokens. I'm going to create a token namespace called demo and add a token called name. When you define a token, we have one of the token types is a constant token, and so we can say that the content of this is Dale. If I save and test it, this way demo colon name always will return whatever the content was. So it's a way of centrally defining a constant value. You might use this for something like an account number or something like that. But in the starter plan, as we look at the definitions of these, the starter plan includes the constant types, but it doesn't include some other advanced types like database query or Razor script or run workflow. So some tokens that you might have had don't, like if you had database query tokens in your previous system, they may not run without an upgrade, without adding that feature into the system. And that's something that I think we're going to get to next here. Let's walk along. So starter plan capabilities, we have forms, listings, tabs, tokens. I showed you that already. The one of the strongest ones that you get added onto is entities, and this is one of the big building blocks that you get as a result of our platform. So let's take a look at entities. I've already defined one here. I've defined a customer entity, so I'm going to go in and edit it, but just to show what it looks like. Essentially, what we do in entities is define both what the data is going to look like what we'll be defining a data table in SQL, but also the the way to interact with it, the forms, the listings, the tabs that interacts with that table. So in this case, I created an entity called customer. It has the plural is customers. We didn't specify a parent page, so it is going to appear on our home screen. And if we look in the properties area, there are always these same system-defined properties, the ID and who created it and when, who modified it and when. But then the custom properties, which in this case, since it's a customer, I have a name, an address, a phone number, a customer type. Uh, the name and address are defined as text. The phone number is defined as a phone field. The customer type is, I wanted a type of being a 1, 2, or a 3, whatever that means. I'm just sample data. But what we get out of this when we save this is that on our home screen we have a customer's menu option, and when we go to it, we have a listing that shows customers and a form that allows you to enter customers. And when you save it, it adds to the listing. You can edit a customer and change information on it or delete it. So it's a very powerful feature, and I can't dive into it too far today, but um, letting you define this is a very common pattern that you need in developing systems, the ability to have data tables and to be able to add and change and delete and view the data. So all this built in with the entities functionality, and we should dive into that at another time. But that's a big block that you get as a result of the starter plan. And now I've covered all that. So a few things that are locked in the starter plan. The mentioned workflows are locked. Custom API endpoints are locked. Those automations, those ability to do a scheduled job, the guided user walkthroughs, the advanced search, all that is installed within the product, but locked out by these icons. They're available to you to license if you want to, but we've removed them from the product so that we can have a very low price point. The starter plan, the functionality that I showed you that is included is, I think the list price is $69 a month, something like that. Um, so now let's talk about the marketplace and these add-on features. So anything marked with that upgrade indicator is locked out from you. You can learn more directly by interacting with that upgrade icon. We'll show you that in just a minute. And then the marketplace is going to show you even more information, and it's going to let you add features without reinstalling or rebuilding. I'll just mention if you have any questions along the way, I am glancing over at the chat window and the question and answer, so you can use either of those features, and I'll try to answer any questions. All right, so let's take a look at how you might use the marketplace. If one common thing, the starter plan, a lot of people can use the starter plan, but a lot of people use starter plan plus search. And so we'll just kind of focus on that. How would I expand to use search? Well, if you click the upgrade icon, it's going to tell you that you can unlock it within license upgrade, and it tells you a little bit about that. But if you click the upgrade button, don't be afraid of this, it's going to take you to the marketplace and explain it. So what do you get? Well, about it, it's fast, intelligent search, lightning fast. Tells you about the features. You can learn all about this. Of course, you can ask the sales team to tell you more about this and whether it might fit your use case. We'll certainly help you with that. But if you want to get it, at this point, we're doing it through a quote process. So you click Request Quote. It will put it in your cart. It's going to tell you about all the other things that are available to you if you want to add it. But the search engine is available $69.95 per month, and there's this monthly annual switch. So if you want to see that quoted as annually, you can click annual, and you'll see it that way as well. You will see it that way as well. And refresh the screen because I don't want to wait for it. There it is, $695 per year or $69.95 per month. This switch seems to be cantankerous. I'll mention this to the developers. Either way, you want to see the pricing, but if you want to add anything else to the cart, you can do that as well. But I'm just going to click Request Quote, and you can fill in any additional notes that you want. It's tied to your user ID, so we don't have to ask any questions about who is asking this question. You can just click Request Quote, and it'll contact the sales team, and we'll work on getting that added to your license. So let's take a look at that experience once of getting it added to your license. And I'm going to work with our licensing screen on another screen here for a second and add that property. So the way that you'll experience this is after you have had a conversation with the sales team and made financial arrangements for adding the feature, that you'll return to your Plant and App application, go to the General tab. You can either wait for it to refresh, it'll come in automatically the next day, but if you're ready to see it, you can come to the General tab on your configuration screen and click Refresh, and watch this icon down here. We click Refresh on the license and then Refresh on the browser, and like magic, nothing happens. I didn't do it right, of course. And the license. So we'll come back to that in just a second. But what will happen when the license manager is correctly set up to say that you have the ability to do search, that the next license refresh will give you will automatically update the Plant and App to unlock that feature. So we're not installing anything new in this case. We're just unlocking a feature, and you'll see it refresh. So let's see if I can do that. There's a 1 minute maximum refresh functionality. So we'll refresh and refresh the browser and see that icon goes away. And now we have the ability to get into the search functionality. So that's the experience that you'll get when you're trying to do upgrades. So simply unlock the feature and you're good to go. So we already kind of walked through what it looks like to request and add an upgrade. You just the thing that you're being blocked by with the lock icon, you just go into it, request an upgrade, and that'll start the conversation. And we've already done the refresh and feature activation, so we see it becomes available immediately. So now that's the unlocking features discussion, but let's talk about going from a development UAT environment to a actually activating the runtime. A couple of possibilities here. We've got this work that's been done on our site. If we just want to promote this site to be production, we can do that, and that's what I'll demonstrate today. Alternatively, you could keep this as a development environment, create a completely new site that will be your production environment, and then piece by piece move your content over into the production environment, or maybe you'll clone this environment into a production environment. But either way, you're going to have the environment that you want to promote to be a production environment. You'll come into the General tab and use the reactivate. If it's not already asking you to activate, you'll use the reactivate. So if we're going to promote it, that would be the way. You'd click reactivate it, click activate. And now we're going to get in this same dialog that we had earlier. Instead of going into the development UAT environment, we just click activate for production, and you'll see all of your subscriptions listed here. And so we see our ABC customer starter plan that was originally purchased when we also did our professional license. We also see the non-production runtime. We don't want to activate this against a non-production. Now we want to activate it against a production. So we say activate here, and this is going to consume that one license that you had available on your runtime, and now this is running on the runtime. And that runtime, if you go back to your account, remember this was set up, it was bought as an annual in this case, and so this date, January 27, aligns with this date that you see here when it renews next. All right, we're getting close to the end. It's a great time if there's any questions, but I'll push on a little bit more. Pricing overview, and let me see if I can get into some pricing. I didn't finish the slides for this, so I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing. The professional developer seat, the list price for that is $2,400 per year per seat. And so this is if you have, for example, 2 developers and 10 customers, that you would buy 2 professional developer seats, and then your 2 developers could access any of the 10 customers and do development work against that using those seats. You could also, each of those developers could then create any number of environments. If you set up a new DNN and install Plant an App on them, you can do that for as many as you want. Again, with that restriction that there is that will once a day show the welcome screen that it's a development environment. So that's the developer seat. The starter plan is $695 a year. There's a monthly price associated with these as well, which I don't have in front of me, but $695 a year, which I guess is the 600, I think it's essentially $69 per month if you want to do it that way. But that's the thing that gives you the ability to run one of those. It's the runtime only piece of the licensing. The search boost, which we added a minute ago as a demonstration, that is also $695 a year. So for starter plan, $695 plus search boost, search engine, $695. What is that? Essentially 700 plus 700, $1,400. See, I can do approximate math in my head. So that's that should get you give you some idea about pricing. And then I also mentioned uh, so looking at this, this is starter plan plus adding features. Most of our features are available in the harvest plan, and so the runtime for the harvest license is $320 a month or $3,200 per year. Um, and so the if you want access rather than doing it feature by feature, if you want to just get most of the features, then you can do it that way. If you remember when I did the activation, when you go through the activation dialog and you're doing a development environment, you can choose a harvest plan, so you can start one of those up and see what it looks like. You'll notice that most of the upgrade icons are not there. You'll have most things. And then I don't have the enterprise pricing. That's more a discussion with sales, but that's where almost all of the features are activated. All right. Final. So just comparing the plans, starter is just the core functionality, and you might want to add a few things. Harvest is most things included. Enterprise is our most advanced feature set, but it's the same development model across all platforms, all plans. You have the configuration page, access to all the different features, and you'll be able to use them that way, anything that you have unlocked. Um, I mentioned earlier, and we'll get into a little bit more detail, the action form, the older standalone tools, action form and search boost, have been on the DNN store for many, many years, but this week they were retired. They are not compatible with DNN 10, and so you're not going to be able to install them for that, and so we're no longer selling them in the store. And I've made the point, I think, here several times that that functionality is available here. All those the forms and the search boosters available if you action form in our starter plan. Action search boost is if you turn on the starter plan plus search, then you'll have access to search boost. If you have specific cases and needs, again, reach out to sales. Some people were using search on many sites, so and there were enterprise level plans for that. So that would be a discussion to have with our sales team. Um, yeah, we kind of covered licensing scenarios, but the thing that we want to leave you with is that it scales from whether you want to do a single site to many sites, one developer or many developers. It gives you lots of flexibility. We hope to come away with the idea that you can upgrade without losing existing functionality. If you are already using some of our older tools, you can keep those tools and yet gain a whole platform that can grow with you, and that our licensing is more aligned with what hopefully a design that lets you upgrade, lets you split developer versus runtime, and hopefully that will make sense to you. Last chance for any questions. Harvest. There's a question about the harvest plan and the pricing for the harvest plan. I believe it's $3,200 per year. I don't know if I said it wrong. It's not 32,000. That was a question. $3,200 a year for the harvest plan. Runtime. And so to do development, you would buy a professional developer seat to go with that at $2,400, and the harvest plan runtime at $3,200. And if you've been paying attention to our earlier pricing, I think you'll see that the total price between having a developer seat and a and a harvest plan, the cost is actually slightly lower than what we did for just the old licensing model for a harvest plan. So it really sets you up the ability to scale and to save some money as well. All right. Um, and if anybody has follow-up questions, I would recommend that you reach out to sales at plantanapp.com. I almost said that my old company email address, which is odd. Anyway, sales at plantanapp.com. But you're welcome to CC me on it if you have the support. There is a question about whether Harvest includes hosting, and I believe the answer to that is yes, that you can buy a Harvest plan and have it be hosted. But again, that's a question to reach out to sales. As the support guy, I'm not the most reliable for sales-based questions, but I believe that you can get it hosted at that price. And or uh, I think it's your choice to be able to host it yourself or do hosting with it. Okay. I'll hang around here for any last minute questions. I won't close it out, but that's all the content that I have for you today. So I just want to thank you for joining and spending your hour with us, and I hope that it's been of help. Please do use that feedback link, and we'll be happy to improve and take your suggestions. And again, you feel free to open up a support ticket with questions as well. And I'll just watch the board here for a few more minutes if you have any final questions.